equity of it. You understand me? By owning a percentage of it.
Right.
Because we haven't historically had nothing, we think we need all of it, right, to feel like owners, instead of learning the actual science of business. Right. Most people, they build a company and their whole idea is, how can I give away a part of this company? Right, so that it's worth a certain amount so that they can do more. Because by yourself, you can only do so much. So it's really just reframing the way we go about business. Most people build businesses to sell them. You understand me? And so when you're doing that, you're building a framework completely different rather than saying, how can I own this? Now, there's generational wealth where you build certain companies you want to have in the family forever. Right? And we know the Chase Banks, we know the Colgates, we know, certain families who've had businesses for 100+ years that they've been able to pass down in their family, and we use those as household products today. So there is, value in maintaining companies within, the family, but there's also value in giving away equity so that you can grow that company, so that it can become bigger and it become a household name.
And even the companies that remained like Walmart, right? In a way, they still gave up some equity because it's a publicly traded company. So they take the company to the stock market. That means everybody owns a part of it. So that's what, like he said, it's like, when you're not used to having something, you just hoard it. Because, and rightfully so, because it's like, for years, we always had stuff taken away from us. You look at Black Wall Street, you look at Freeman's Bank, you look at so much stuff. Anytime that we had something, they took it away from us. So psychologically, we still look at it like a hoarder. Like, even with the information, it's like, but that's how we changed the game, where it's like,
that's yours.
Tiger Woods teaching somebody how to hit a golf ball doesn't affect him. It doesn't make him less of a golfer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me sharing information with you doesn't actually hurt me at all. That's what we didn't understand for a long time.
It be the mindset.
But by the way, for the first time I seen you brothers, I was like, their job is way more dangerous than mine. Because I'm just being honest. It's like you're telling people, like, I'm helping people career. We're helping people career come back in order. You guys are telling people, look, you can make you money, I can keep you money, and you can build a whole company. Like, that's dangerous.
But ask yourself, why is it dangerous though? Who opposes that the most?
It's who do we have? Who examples we have of y'all prior to y'all? Who was preaching black wealth?
As far as like
and being cool, like, I mean, there's probably people that we just didn't even respect him. He was the preacher. He was the preacher that was smelling like Coltrane. You know what I'm saying? So we probably didn't respect him. Like, I'm just saying.
But I mean,
y'all
just
are
in
cool.
the sense that we are great consumers, right? We're not great producers. You understand me? We are a culture that overconsumes everybody else's everything. Even when we go buy their brands, we're not particularly buying it because of the quality. We buying it because of the branding. Right? We want to have somebody else's name to give us value and aspiration. We haven't learned to take that 1.8 trillion or however much money we have in spending power and turn it into an investment dollar. Once we do that, now we have the power of an entire nation. Right? One of the richest nations on the planet Earth. The problem is that, number one, we don't have collective sense of unity, collective sense of ownership, collective sense of pride. We talk about culture, but culture is this word that's thrown around so often, but don't have that much meaning, right? It's decentralized, it's everywhere, and everybody can say they're part of the culture because they make a hot song, not because they part of some values, some standards, some principles whatsoever. So my whole thing is like, now looking at each one of us, like, we can all be brown and black men, but what's your ethnicity? Right? Like, what is your values, your principles, your religion, your ideology, your philosophy? What are those things you stand on? Because we get it confused because we look at each other and they all the same color, but we all have different beliefs. Right? So now we can't build with each other because I may be talking about equity and ownership and building and entrepreneurship, but your values may be completely different. But I got it confused because I'm looking at the construct of race rather than what's our ethnic background. So men like myself, black, Muslim, masculine men with knowledge of self, you understand me? Ethnically, we don't get inclusion. When they talk diversity and inclusion, they're not talking about people like me. No, they talking about the effeminated version of those who believe the same things that they believe. So that they can be black on the outside, but white on the inside. Right? In the movies, the TVs, entertainment, there's no representation of my archetype. Right? Meaning the people who think like me, look like me, move like me. So when you talk about it being dangerous, you understand me? It's only dangerous because this is the primal solution. Right? And everybody else gets the feed. If we make our people producers, we producing our own goods and services. That means we don't have to go outside our community. If we stay uneducated and we stay living in what I like to call financial deserts, where we don't have access to somebody who has a financial education that can give us advice on wealth and how to build business and how to maintain our assets, right? Then we're going to always be the victims of everybody else's culture who does have that knowledge. Everybody else eats off us. The Asian man eat off us, the Jewish man, the Mexican man, everybody, because we don't produce our own anything. So that means we have to go outside our community. So when they see that 1.8 trillion and we say, no, let's circulate that amongst us, that's directly also us saying, let's take it off their table.
But how do we do that? Like, let's just get straight to it. Let's not wait. Like, how do we, like, like, for instance, like, I love the fact, like, was it Slutty Vegan?
Yeah.
Whenever they, like, people go and support it, whether you're a vegan or not, you know what I mean? Like, how do we make more of that?
So I think it goes back to having a level of pride, first and foremost. Like, I feel like it's so crazy because, like, how I was raised, how I was brought up, everything is black.
Right.
So it's like I still carry that with me to this day. So, like, my dentist is black, my doctor is black, my lawyer is black, my accountant is black. And I'm not doing that because I'm like, it's just natural. Like, why would I not do it?
Right.
And I'm not compromising because they still qualify.
Right.
I'm still, like, you know, vetting. But it's like, why would I celebrate having somebody other than what? That doesn't even make any sense. We the only people that do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's crazy because I was just outside the hotel today and this guy ran up on me. He's like, yo, I love y'all. He started talking. He's like, I was talking to this Jewish guy one time and he told me, you see this dollar? He's like, yeah. He's like, you'll never have this dollar. And he was like, he thought it was a racial thing, but then he broke it down to him. He said, look, when I spend this dollar, I'm spending it at a Jewish restaurant. And they're going to go to a Junic dry clean. They're going to put it in a Jewish bank. He was like, you're never going to see this dollar because it's never going to leave our community.
That's a fact.
And they say the black dollar leaves the community, I think, within 6 minutes or something like that. Some crazy like stat.
I think everyone knows what Kanye was saying wasn't too far-fetched. I think it's how he delivered it. I think it was...
The first part is, because we're going to talk about like building business infrastructure.
Right.
But the first part is how you view yourself is extremely important. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't view yourself as worthy, then you're not going to do business with each other. Because if you're looking at somebody like a nigga, you're going to treat them like a nigga.
Right.
If I'm looking at you as my brother, I'm going to treat you like my brother.
Right.
So it's like, all right, if I see you in a certain light, I'm going to be enthusiastic about spending money with you. And it's not charity. Like, we got to get out of that as well. Like, if I'm supporting a business, it's because I genuinely want to support the business. Because I ain't have to tell you that you have to support Mercedes. I ain't tell you had to. And it's like, yo, you know I brought that Gucci, now you owe me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we only do that with each other. Like,
that's funny as hell. I went to Pharrell's grand opening of BBC.
Okay.
And I just went and I bought out everything. And he kind of leaned over and was like, I got you. I was like, no. I gotta support this. That's what I'm here for. And what the fuck I need a hookup for?
Exactly.
Nigga, what the fuck? I'm in the all motherfucking eat, nigga. I'm sorry, bro. I ain't even close to you. But I wanted to support, and it's like, I forget what else. Even vintage frames, like a guy Corey, like he went and opened up, and I went and bought out everything, and then it's like, so many people, and it reminds me of that's how many people people think that they're supposed to get shit for free if that's your brother. That shit got to stop.
Yeah, that's the mentality though. But it goes back to you said like where are we supposed to learn it from? That's why like this moment right here, like us being on Drink Champs.
Right.
This is important.
Well, make some more.
It's extremely important because for so long, especially our generation, we grew up watching y'all. Right. So we watched Puff, we watched Jay, we watched Cash Money. We watched all these examples. We saw it happening. We just didn't know how it was happening. And we only thought we can get it through a couple of lanes. Like if we ain't entertainers, it's going to be tough. All right, we got to be athletes. If we don't do those two things, it's going to be really tough, right? Until you start seeing like, wait, there's more to this. Like we uncovered like, yo, let's look at other people in other places of the world who are actually accumulating wealth, right? So when you never hear about Aliko Dangote, but he's the wealthiest black man on the planet.
Wow.
Right? Nobody talks about that because he's not Forbes is not putting him on the list. But
what's his name?
Aliko Dangote. Okay. And he didn't get it from entertainment. He didn't get it from.
But Mason Musa was like the richest of all time.
Of all time. I'm talking about right now.
Okay, right now
he's alive right now. He got it from natural resources. He got it from oil. He got it from construction. Right? Like his best friend is building power plants. They can build their own city just from the resources that they have.
His best friend is Davido's pops.
It's Davido's pops, yeah. You know Davido?
The artist?
Yeah, his pops is a billionaire. Did you know that?
No, hell no.
But that's why I say it goes with that cooperation. Like if they don't report to you, how you know what they're really doing? But you got tons of billionaires who are not reporting, they're doing real things. It's just that when we look in America, we're like, all right, Robert F. Smith, yes, wealthiest black man in America, but not in the world. There's no shame in that.
What about the guy that owned BET?
Bob Johnson?
Yeah.
Rob Johnson, he was a billionaire too.
He got a divorce.
Yeah, he lost $400 million on the divorce.
Shit.
But yeah. No class for that.
Shit, I wasn't ready. Y'all supposed to warn me on that one.
It goes to the mindset, right? Like when Jay said that line, he was like, when he bought the Nets, or he was an owner in the Nets, they were like, he don't own it. But then he had to remind people like, yo, 1% of $1 billion is more than people ever seen.
Right.
So we're gonna treat it like it's an everyday thing.
Right.
And then he sells 50% of Ace of Spades. And it's like, well, he sold out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro, he's actually merging the company so it can expand. He's now business partners with the wealthiest man in quote unquote the world,
Arnold
Barneau, who owns LVMH.
Yes.
And so it's a strategic partnership to help the brand grow. That's not hurting him, right? He's actually showing us how to do it right now. The problem is, like, for so long we watched, we didn't get the instructions on how to do it. So that's why when we talk about the most dangerous, that's what this is right here. So the fact that we got it from entertainers, and now entertainment and music is now looking at us like, yo, those are the guys. This merger is important.
Right. My bad. But how important was it? Because, like I said, you guys are cool. It's different from hearing from people that's always suited and booted, and they looking too good, and they don't have no sins and shit like that. Like, it's different when you're human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but how important was it for y'all to like connect with entertainers and share y'all?
That's,
you know what I mean?
that's what it's ruining. The first lesson I ever wrote on financial literacy was about Jay-Z.
Oh wow!
Because we grew up with him. Like I told you when I saw you the other night, I'm like, yo, you was on my door when I was growing up.
Oh wow!
Like my mom, I got the picture. I'm gonna show you.
God damn it! Make some noise for me. God damn it.
I walked in, I said, yo, I love the Bo Jacksons.
Yeah, that's right. You got a one too. I need a pair.
Because that's what you meant to me, right?
That's fine.
I'm like, yo, this is my guy. And so like when I was thinking, like me and him had this connection where it was like we would hear lyrics, but we wasn't hearing them the same way everybody else was. We had the ability to decode the message.
Right.
And so I wrote the first lesson I wrote was All Black Skies Sports and Entertainment. Like he wrote that in '96, the first song on
Jay-Z line.
Reasonable Doubts, the first song.
Right.
I'm like, yo, damn, in 2010 is he right? Like if we look at the people who we think are successful, what avenues do they come from?
Right.
I'm like, yo, damn, was he profound enough to know that was what we was gonna see?
Right.
20 years later.
Right.
And then for him to change that. And so hip hop has always been us. That's why I said this is really the evolution of hip hop, right? Like we watch people entertain. We've seen y'all become like, look at this. This is business.
And really, it's going back to the root of hip hop. You understand?
I didn't think hip hop was gonna get this smart. Like to tell you, I'm so sorry. Like
come on.
Let's be clear.
I didn't think it was gonna get this dumb.
No. You talking about the music? You talking about the music? I ain't talking about the
culture as well.
I'm talking about maybe in its totality. But I'm saying there's a lot of great businessmen that are doing a lot of great shit on the business wise now, because especially podcasts. Like podcasts made it so we didn't.
But you didn't think Russell back then what he was doing was insane?
Yeah. I'm saying I'm adding on to that. Yeah, I'm saying.
But even the Dame Dashes and things of that nature, there was always shining examples. It never became the predominant culture.
Right.
But they was always trying to make sure that they did not become the predominant culture, because now they can't eat off you. In this country, right, we've always, like, if you look at the history of black people in America, we are some of the most inventive, innovative people that ever exist in the history of time.
Right.
Like, it was a black man that created the doorknob, to the stoplight, to the filament in the light bulb. But you don't think about black men and women in that respect, right? Because it's not narrated like that. Why? Because we don't own media and we don't own the education systems, right? If we educated each other based on what our actual contributions are and the things that we do and the important people within our culture, that becomes our culture.
Right.
Our thing is that we are the talent, but we don't own the talent, right? We are the culture, we don't own the culture. So somebody else is always managing our spirit and our energy and our bodies. I mean, but that shit just goes back to slavery, right? We were the talent. We were the ones that was doing all the production. There was a brother that was creating the cotton gins and different inventions, but people were stealing the patents and utilizing your labor. It's the same thing with hip hop. It's the same thing with the workforce, right? Spiritually, the essence of hip hop is the most influential on the planet Earth, right? But financially, we don't own nor control none of that shit. Right. So if we can keep you uneducated, then we can control you. Right? That's what we was talking about with the contracts and the legalese. Brothers don't know nothing about that. But when you go back to hip hop started off the gods in the earth. It started off peace God instead of what's up, nigga. You understand me? It started off with kings and queens instead of niggas and bitches. So it reverted. And then that's when you was able to really control them, because if it was based on knowledge, then people want to learn. If it's based on ignorance, then people are satisfied with not knowing, and they just get a look. So people want to look successful, but they never learn the actual business of success. So now we at this point, if you look at every other culture, their wealth standard is steeped in education. Whether it's the Jewish, they look at education as the key. The Asian community, which has the highest, grossing households in America, specifically the East Indian, education is the key. The way the Hispanics are growing right now,